Ja, herzlich willkommen.
Welcome, everybody.
Willkommen jetzt
Welcome
hier
back.
bei uns im Dome.
Oh, welcome to the Dome stage.
Ja, ihr könnt einfach hier bleiben, finde ich gut. So,
I've got my own fan club here with me. You can just stay here.
Raumbeschallung für euch.
Right now you still hear me via the loudspeakers.
Wenn ihr jetzt hier drin sitzt,
If you are watching on the screens, nothing will change, but if you are in here with me, please put on your headphones and switch to blue.
Reden und es kommt ein ganz anderer Ton an. Also einmal jetzt die Kopfhörer auf.
So please put on your headphone, and as soon as the headphones
wenn ihr das nicht habt, wenn ihr keine Kopfhörer habt, könnt ihr uns gleich
blue, you can hear us here on stage. If you still need headphones, ask the colleagues at the entries.
Einmal aufsetzen, einmal blau
Now switch on the headphones.
Ich bin jetzt auch schon
Let them light up in blue.
Die meisten
Now you should
aber ich glaube, es blinkt
already hear me
bei allen. Blau. Blau ist die richtige
in your
Farbe
headphones.
hier bei uns. Ja. Es braucht mehr Energie,
So we need more energy to produce 1 kilogram of paper than 1 kilogram of steel. So if you do have to print something, you should change the font Arial to Centric Gothic. Then you could save a lot of material. If everybody in the world would use efficient light bulbs, we could save 105 million euros per year. These are our small sustainability hacks, but these are of course not enough to make a company sustainable or to really implement sustainable development. We need something more to do that. For example, green tech. And we will now talk about the status quo, possible developments, and so forth on the panel. But before we get started, I would like to welcome a special guest with a very up-to-date study on how to become more sustainable. I'm very much looking forward to Nicholas Bradford.
Genau, Nicholas, du darfst zu mir kommen. Da hinten hört man es immer noch so schlecht, ne? Ja, genau. Du darfst einmal neben mich kommen. Herzlich willkommen, Nicholas. Ich muss dazu sagen, Nicholas ist der Chatsetter hier unter den Nachhaltigkeitsexperten.
Nicholas is the jet-setter among the sustainability experts. You just arrived from the Green Tech Festival.
Hallo MHP, liebe Gäste.
How was it? Hello MHP, hello dear guests. It was very hot, very warm in Berlin. It was much warmer in Berlin than here. It was also very interesting. It was very positive. The general mood was possible. Many different companies, large ones and small ones, startups, and
das Thema Nachhaltigkeit jetzt wirklich
the general mood was very positive when it comes to implementing sustainability.
Well,
I do hope that we can create the same mood here.
Wir müssen das jetzt hier einmal ganz kurz abkoppeln, weil es ist ja wirklich großartig, dass wir heute zum ersten Mal die neue Studie
have this new study presented here today. Green Tech Made in Germany.
Als Chance,
global challenges as an opportunity. How can we succeed in transforming towards sustainability? It almost looks like a book. If you needed to summarize this book, what were the key findings of that study?
Relativ simpel, nämlich ein Wort.
It's rather simple.
Wir können das tun, wir haben die Technologien dazu, die Menschheit will das.
We've got the technology, everybody wants it, everything is feasible, so we just need to do it.
Der Studie, wird nicht so lauten,
Subtitle could be
Dann
just do it.
Gucken wir mal ein bisschen in die Studienergebnisse rein.
So let's take a closer look at the results of the study. You have brought some slides for us.
Sehr schön. Also wie ihr am Titel seht, der deutsche Titel
ist Green Tech Made in Germany. Title is Green Tech Made in Germany. It's not really German, but the subtitle is
Deutschland als Exportnation richtig gestellt sind.
Setting the way for the export nation Germany.
Veröffentlichen werden.
The study will be published on 4th of July in cooperation with the University of Reutlingen. Thank you for the cooperation. It was a very intense cooperation, and on the 14th of July, you will get to hear a lot about that topic. That's the date of publication. When we started with the study, we found out that everybody has an idea of green tech, but there is no standard definition of green tech. So we started with the definition of it. This is the definition. This is not a Nobel Prize-winning definition, but it's a little bit more hands-on approach. So green tech is technology.
Unserer Meinung nach zu viele Nachhaltigkeitsframeworks, aber es ist schon mal deutlich in Richtung Quantifizierung. Ein paar Sätze zur Vorgehensweise. Wir haben eigentlich zwei große Themen gehabt. Wir haben die Landschaft analysiert in Deutschland.
We analyzed the political landscape based on the coalition treaty of the Traffic Lights Coalition, and then together with experts we defined some results. So on the upper right-hand side you can see the reference model. We created that reference model, what is green tech and what is not part of green tech, and then we defined the business opportunity. For sustainability, it's very important that you can make money with it. That's one of the pillars. And also very important, recommendations for action from expert interviews, from the political agenda that will be presented with in a second. Some facts and figures. What's green tech? In 2020, we had a total market volume on a global level with 319 billion euros. So it's a rather minor share in the world economy, but green tech has a share of 14%. So in the GDP, it's 3% in Germany. So it's relatively more green tech that is made in Germany.
Nur kurz zurück. Wichtig in Deutschland.
So in Germany, it's important. You wouldn't think so, but 91% of turnover come from small and medium-sized companies. They account for 91% of turnover.
Und jetzt kommt die Folie.
In green tech.
Nochmal zum Thema Wirtschaftlichkeit. Wir müssen Wachstum durch Green Tech schaffen.
Profitability. We need to create growth by green tech.
Umsätze sind ein sehr
Economy, sales, turnover is very important. Profit needs to be possible. So let's start at the bottom. What is green tech? What are the different parts of green tech? So economy, ecology, and social matters belong together. And if you start on the right-hand side, you need digital technologies for green tech. You probably all know the facts and figures, exponential growth of data. We need digital enablers for green tech. Processors and data are very important in a company, but also in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. Value-added chains, that refers to the value-added chains and digitization. On the left-hand side, you can see the old world. We need to think of old hardware. The way we develop products, the materials we use, so products and services. The corporate portfolio is also a very important element of green tech. And business models. We need new alternative business models. We need to move away from linear business models. We need to move away from resource consumptions and emissions. So much as to the reference model. Some words on the experts. The bulk of experts came from the industry, 1/3. Research, green tech, experts were present, NGOs, venture capital from the public administrations, and some consultants, but not our consultants, but from other companies. Two main messages: sustainability and digitization belong together. 97% of participants confirmed that. And also very important when it comes to growth, we need growth through green tech. 90% confirm that. The growth expected through green tech is good or very good. The recommendations for actions. We developed 10 recommendations that you can now take a look at. I won't go into detail here. We all know what companies need to do: technology, digitization, and something else. It's not everything.
Rechts oben, technology alone is not enough.
Technology alone is not enough. When it comes to sustainability, we cannot wait for the companies to do something. Everybody of us can do it every day. The way we behave, the way we consume is something that we can do every day on our own. And this was something very important that we integrated in our key messages. With a view to time, I must interrupt. Maybe you can cluster your recommendations because we have great guests who are about to join. Are there fields of actions that you can categorize in a beautiful mind list, for example? Yes, of course. You can see in the ones in the center are targeted at politics and society, and the 4 edges are the recommendations for action that have a really direct impact. Technology as a key factor. We need technology. It's also part of the name, green tech. Then transparency is an important topic when it comes to the circular economy. We need to know where and how materials are used. Specific measurements, that is of course a very entrepreneurial perspective and also very important for the discussion. We need to be able to do these measurements. We need to define clear targets and then be able to measure these targets. Thank you very much, Nicolas. Thank you for presenting the study. If you want to, you can give a big hand to Nicolas now. Thank you. Please have a seat. And now I would like to invite our other panelists to join me.
Rhythmisch begleiten. Einer kommt hier zu Fuß an. Und die anderen beiden sind zugeschaltet.
So 2 are present and 2 are present online. Let me briefly introduce our guests. I'm very glad that they are here, that you are here. You are at the Green Tech Festival. It's of course also an important mission to be there. Let's start with Marianne Kuhlmann, Head of Sustainability at Roda. Good to have you.
Ich springe quasi rüber zu dem anderen.
I move on to the next screen.
Vertreterinnen vom Green Tech Festival.
2 representatives of the Green Tech Festival. Anna Alex is also on site of the Green Tech Festival. She's head of Planetly. Thank you for joining us.
Und den Weg zu Fuß auf die Bühne hat gemacht.
And then we've got Dr. Günther Beitinger, Senior Vice President of Siemens, Manufacturing Department of Siemens.
Ja, also, wir eröffnen mal die Runde am Anfang bei der Anmoderation so ein paar kleine Hacks.
In the beginning, I mentioned some sustainability hacks.
Ich habe es auf Areal ausgedruckt. Das war natürlich der Fail.
Well, I just noticed that I printed this out in font Arial, something that I did not recommend in the beginning. Anna and Marianne, what are your favorite sustainability hacks?
Im Business-Umfeld.
It might be from your everyday life or from business life. Anna.
Ja, ich starte gerne mal. Ich hoffe, ihr könnt mich alle gut hören.
I hope that you can hear me all right.
Einer der Hacks, also ich glaube, ich muss jetzt hier nicht irgendwie aufzählen, dass man auf grüne Energie wechseln sollte. Und dass
I think I don't have to mention that we should all use green energy, that this is a major lever.
Ein Hack, den ich im Moment gerne empfehle.
A small hack that I like to recommend.
Zum Beispiel vegetarische oder sogar vegane Firmenveranstaltungen zu machen.
To implement vegetarian or vegan company events.
Ich habe gerne gesehen, dass Fleisch bei Firmenveranstaltungen serviert wird. Und das
it's no longer very popular to offer meat. I can only confirm that there is a lot of vegetarian food here at this festival. Marianne, what's your favorite hack?
Mit jemandem hier auf dem Festival
a minute ago, I just talked to someone on the festival about about this. I think food is a great topic because it's a lot about curiosity. 50% of vegetarian and vegan food is sold out of pure curiosity. And this is what I would like to say. Just be curious, be bold, try out new things. Try out a new dish with vegetarian bolognese, for example. Well, last week, for example, I tried out red lentils, and that was fantastic. What's your favorite hack?
Du musst das Mikro doch nehmen. Genau.
Ja gut, also vielleicht kann ich mich da mit einordnen, auch wenn ich jetzt nicht so in der Küche
Maybe I can say something, although I'm not a good cook. In private, I'm drinking vegan milk.
Jetzt mein Hack natürlich, ich beschäftige mich sehr
mit der Dekarbonisierung der Industrie entlang der Lieferketten. Decarbonization of the industry along the supply chains, which is why I found an association that
eingetragen ist.
Das ist ein richtig cooler Hack.
Is official for a few weeks now.
Noch kurz zum Abschluss, bevor wir direkt
Briefly, before we enter into the actual debate, I would like to ask you, Nicholas. It's a good option to talk about minimalism. Less consumption, consume better things and less of them. That's good for everyone. These are the hacks.
Mit euch nutzen, deswegen nur eine ganz kurze.
Just a very brief round of introduction. Siemens and MHP, we all know these companies. Maybe someone doesn't know these companies.
Ferdinand
Porsche once said,
den Sportraumwagen nicht finden können.
I couldn't find the dream car, which is why I built my own. And I think this applies to you. You didn't find a sustainability software that you like, which is why you founded your own. CO2 management is as easy as ever before. What technology do you use?
Ja, ganz genau, wie du sagst. Also ich wollte den Fußabdruck meiner letzten Firma messen und habe
I wanted to measure the CO2 footprint of my last company, and I found that there is no software to do that.
Habe gedacht, das kann es nicht gewesen sein.
And I was in touch with a consultant. And we said CO2 is the most important parameter of humanity in this century, which is why we need to provide the best software to make these measurements easier, so that a company can keep track of its CO2 footprint and to be able to understand this and to have this automated, so that you can compensate your CO2 emissions. So it's based on analysis, and recording, analysis and evaluation. Thank you very much. I think this is what many people have asked themselves. How can I go about sustainable companies? Marianne?
SaaS und MaaS.
Well, everybody's talking about SaaS and MaaS and DaaS. You are talking about TGFR.
Thank God it's Friday, sondern
not Thank God it's Friday, but it is Tech Gadgets for Rent. TGFR. So it is about tech gadgets that you can actually rent. What stands behind this? What does this have to do with sustainability?
Da komme ich vielleicht zum zweiten Lifehack.
Maybe I could offer a second life hack.
Die einfache Art, auch irgendwie einen Schritt in Nachhaltigkeit zu gehen, wenn man jetzt mal eine neue
simple, small steps towards sustainability. If you need a new electronic device, a phone, a computer,
ein Staubsaugerroboter, zu
or
sagen, muss ich den eigentlich besitzen, wie
vacuum
lange
cleaner, a robotic vacuum cleaner,
eigentlich nutzen?
you might think about how often you would use that device.
Klar wird, dass man das vielleicht
And if you find out that you don't need it for so long, for so much time, or that it's not that important to have one, to own one, you can just rent the device. So the idea is to rent consumer electronics, mobile phones, computers,
Sachen oder halt auch gerade viel, was man im Kreativitätsbereich braucht, ein
creative products, DJ set, keyboards.
Dass man halt die Dinge nur dann so lange bei uns mietet.
And you can rent these devices for as long as you need them and then return them
Sie befurbischen sie,
to
reparieren
us.
sie. und geben sie wieder.
We clean the products and rent them again. So this is how it works. So if we need a DJ set tonight, we can just give you a ring and have a same-day delivery.
Well, Gunther, you have just said it's a lot about decarbonization. You have a software that is called SeeGreen. So what would you say, what's your focus at Siemens? Well, just to back to SeeGreen and what we've just heard, I also wanted, like Anna, I also wanted to take a look at the CO2 footprint of one of our products that is produced in one of our plants. And then I realized, yes, we can track that and calculate that for our own plants. And so we have the technological stack in our plants. But as soon as you get into the supply chain, then it's getting intransparent. And with the direct tier 1, well, you have a good or close contact to the tier 1. But when it's tier 2, 3, or 4, then it's getting really difficult because we don't have the data available. And companies, of course, they are quite resistant when it comes to exchanging these kind of data because it might influence the competitiveness. And SeeGreen enables to take the data along the supply chain and to exchange the data, but the data authority stays with the owner. And you can verify the data with so-called verification certificates. So certificating entity checks the certificates for validity. This is what SeeGreen is doing. And SeeGreen is based on a decentralized network, so not a classical platform where you upload the data, but it is a decentralized network so that no monetarization of the data can take place. And the information is only exchanged for the CO2 footprint calculation. When I prepared for this event, I learned a new word, the cryptographic certificates. So, and everything is safe data protection in Germany. We really like that. Nicholas, you've just presented your study. 97% of the responders said digital technology is essential for green tech and for really tapping this market. What kind of technologies are these? What are the key technologies?
Also wir sprechen ja größtenteils mit
So we talk to industry companies these are our customers, and Gunther has just mentioned it. It's always important to assess the sustainability of the products the companies produce. And well, we want to measure the sustainability, and with that we can also influence sustainability. So corporate CO2 footprints is one topic here. But it also changes the way how products are developed, how products are brought to the market. This is also what Marianne said. So what for do I need digitalization? To exchange data? But yes, in parallel, we want to improve the products as well. Let's stay with the data topic. I mean, this is a big issue here. If you do not know how to measure things, you do not know your position. You can only manage what you can measure. What kind of data do you need? What kind of data do you collect to measure your position? And how do you manage that then at the end of the day? Because if the scales shows a figure that is too high, then I know that I have to decrease weight, but I do not really know what to do. So how do you do that? This is a great question. Yes, it's absolutely true. What you cannot measure, you cannot manage. So we have our KPIs, and this is what we can manage. This is the same principle for our sustainability indicators. And it is also important to get started somewhere. No one will be perfect right from the start. To calculate the CO2 footprint, you need a set of different data. So all business activities are included, also also indirect activities should be included. To give you an example here, the employees and how the employees get to work. This is also part of the footprint. Or what kind of company events you organize, or what kind of emissions are generated by service or digital products. Also, digital emissions are relevant and increased, and most people do not keep that in mind. 1 hour of Netflix emits the same amount of CO2 like going with your car once across Berlin. So you need different data sources to collect the data here. We automate it as far as this is possible. We can include different systems, ERP systems, CRM systems, for instance. And then you get your first position as a company. You know what your position is and what the position of your competitors are, and then you can get started. But first of all, of course, you need to define the reduction targets, and then you need to monitor the progress so that you, at the end of the day, achieve your target. Thank you very much for this explanation. Let's stay with data for a while. Also, our guests at home, of course, you can join the discussion via Slido. You can send in your question, and then I see them here on the tablet. And I really would like to have someone in the back asking a question, because then I will throw this microphone to you. If you have a question, if you want to make a statement, then please raise your hand, and then I throw this nice microphone ball to you. It doesn't hurt. So if you have a question, if you want to say something, then please raise your hand, and then hopefully throw this ball to you and you catch it. And you at home, you can join the discussion via Slido. Well, Anna, to come back to what you've said, managing and measuring data. Marianne, when I read what you were doing, for 1 second, it reminded me of my mom when she said, please tidy up your room. Then I just took everything on my floor and put it into my cabinet, and then everything was tidy. And what about you? I mean, now you have less people, or more people using less gadgets, but the gadget does not live longer. So is it really more sustainable? And how do you ensure the circular economy here? This is a very good question, yes. To really shape the circular economy, you need both. On the one hand, on the production side, we need to ensure that our products have a sustainable design with sustainable materials. The products must be smart, they should be repairable, etc. But this is not everything. We also have to treat our products in a fundamentally different way. So the life cycles of the products need to be longer. We need to use the products in a more intensive way. And that there are secondary markets. For a smartphone, the emissions are, or 80% of the emissions are generated during the production of the smartphone. So it's clever to use it as long as possible. We've also discussed that for the car, because 95% of the time, the car just stands around. It is not used. And we just use it for 5% of the lifetime of the car. So we should not treat the resources like that. And a lot of innovation can be seen in these new business models. And sometimes I do not really want to own all these gadgets and devices. It improves sustainability, it makes a contribution to sustainability, and it creates new value for the customer. If you can rent devices, and if you do not need the device anymore, you can return it. I cannot see in the room, but who has no old smartphone or mobile phone in the drawer? Who has no old mobile phone in the drawer? I have two, actually. You as well? Old smartphones, mobile phones, cellular phones, yes. Who has no old smartphone in the drawer? 4, 5.
In der Schule in der ersten Reihe saßen.
These were the guys in the first row in the school.
Marianne, es waren nicht viele.
No, not too many, Marianne, who raised their hand.
Ich würde jetzt noch fragen, ob es auch keinen alten Computer gibt.
I could now ask if there's no old computer. So in Germany alone, there are 200 million smartphones in the drawer, and you keep them because you think, at some point when the new smartphone fails, then I use the old one. These are tons of resources in the drawers, and what the economy cannot use. So to create a business model like I do not use the product, but someone else can use the product, and then this product has several life cycles, so to speak. So it's not just put into the drawer and is not used anymore, but someone can use it. This can make a big contribution to sustainability. And this is not only true for electronics. So no one buys DVDs anymore, you see. Or we have a lot of e-bikes now. And we also think that consumer electronics is the next sector that will be disruptive. You also have no paper tickets anymore. That's also great. Or like recyclable tickets, that would also be great. So you both mentioned this topic, Anna, the great example with Netflix. So 30 minutes of watching Netflix is like driving 8 kilometers with a car. So the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC, says that the biggest challenges are uncertainties, not understanding, and quality of the data about energy consumption and costs, scope 3 emissions. That is getting really difficult. There is an initiative of the World Economic Forum with Capgemini, and it is called Net Zero in Manufacturing and Value Change. So here it is about the net zero operation that should be sped up by 2050. How can we speed that up? So we talk about accelerating things, but we don't have a basis for that. Or what's the situation here in the supply chain?
So the Net Zero
initiative focuses on the decarbonization of the industry. 30% of the worldwide CO2 emissions are emitted by the industry. That means by the activities of industrial companies. And of course, you have to consider the supply chain here as well. And this is what this initiative addresses. It's the logical continuation of the topics that we've talked about before with Sea Green. Sea Green was started based on an initiative with the World Economic Forum, and this product was then generated, and we want to push that forward. Net zero is a balanced consideration. That means you also have to consider the wells, the sinks here, and you have to manage the CO2 footprint somehow with sustainable measures.
Carbon capturing, storage compensation.
But carbon capturing, storage compensation, all of that needs to be considered as well. And for this, we need to offer sustainable solutions to the industry that can be consumed, that can be used as a service. And this is what we want to address in this working group. There's a lot of intransparency in this area, and this is what we want to tackle and what we want to address. Across industry sectors? Yes, across industry sectors. It shouldn't be done for only one industry sector. Of course, with our activities, we also are active in Catena X. We also will offer our service with Catena X, but we have cross-industrial activities because all industries kind of meet at the raw materials in the mines, so to speak. So we cannot only do that for one industry sector and then hope that the others will follow suit. No, we have to specify like guidelines for all industry sectors. I mean, we have an initiative by the chemical industry. Then we have Catena X for the automotive industry. So we have specific initiatives that we need to combine, because what we need is a universal method. And otherwise, we see even more intransparency. So you see a lot of commitment by the companies. I'm quite okay with throwing. So in case you have a statement, if you want to say something, if you have a question, I will throw the microphone to you, or at home you can use Slido for joining the discussion. At the end of the panel, I would like to talk about circular economy and co. So Nicolas, I saw your study there. It was also about politics and economy. What's their position in the different areas? And what I found interesting was with the circular economy, neither economy nor politics was really on top. So what do we need here, and what's the breaking factor? This is an interesting topic, yes. So Marianne might confirm that since the Industrial Revolution, starting in 1760, 1840, we lived linearly for centuries. This is our process, this is our way of thinking, not only the industry, but the society as a whole. We can also transform ourselves. So we are just used to work with the linear supply chains. So you still meet at the mines, as you've said, and this is just the process that companies use as a standard. Only 8.6% of the economy was a real circular economy, and this shows how companies work. So politics need to do more standardization, I think. We have too many different standards that overlap, sometimes they contradict. In the topic of sustainability and on the technology side, I see two big topics: the resource protection and climate change. Resource protection, of course, needs more influence from politics, needs more influence due to pricing, exchanging data. Catena X has been mentioned. But I think that the companies have done a lot about the circular economy in the chain. We did not talk about that with our customers some years ago. So I don't think that politics need to do so much more. I think the companies, when we take a look at the Green Tech Festival, we see a lot of companies who can do a lot. The companies also do that because they see that it makes sense. Politics, of course, can support, but we won't wait for politics to get active. Maybe I can add something to that. The digital product pass will be an enabler for the circular economy. In German, well, we just think that we are at the end of the chain, but we have to start at the beginning of the chain, and Marianne has said so. There are new strategies that need to be implemented, and we need to come from the product development, and there are easy examples that just need to be implemented. Just imagine that every product, when it comes to the market, when it's launched on the market, you have a product information with it, and this sheet of paper is just thrown away. When you buy a TV station, a TV set, record, whatever, you just throw away the instructions. Normally, when you need instructions, you take a look at the YouTube video or you Google, but still the hard copy of the instructions is in the box that is just thrown away. This is a big cost reduction factor. So we still think in a linear way, not in a circular way. So there are so easy measures that we could implement. And we can just leave this hard-printed, hard copies of the instructions and put everything into the internet on the website. That's it. So we just have 5 minutes left, maybe additional 3 minutes, and I would like to come back to one question. We do not need more regulations, but we know this funny CE sign from the masks, and then I know, okay, I have the seal on the product, and then I know it works. Sometimes you do not really know. It's not like a chocolate bar where you can read the ingredients, but for Netflix, I don't really know what I emit. Why can't it be implemented like that also with these products?
Basically,
I think the term circular economy is not defined, but I'm not so sure if a certification for the customer is the only thing that we need. Just to come back to what Gunter Beitinger and Niklas have said, I would like to add something. Basically, it is about the companies asking themselves how they can achieve an added value for their customers. So they have to change their way of thinking. And what do we need with regard to the circular economy? We should not only take a look at waste or packaging. This is also important, yes. And often this is neglected. But what's even more important, what the bigger lever is when I ask myself as a company, what are the criteria for my value-adding process?
And this is
absolutely complex, but this is why circular economy should not be made by the compliance department, but is part of the strategy, of the corporate strategy, because then you can, in the long run, guarantee the success of the company. And it's more important than saying, well, how can I convey that to my customer? At Grover, I think we are so successful because we have a really good customer service. We have a good customer experience that we do not say, you have to rent it because this is sustainable, but we say, you can rent it and you can work with us because it's so much fun and because it's so easy, and if you have a problem, we solve your problem. And we cannot solve the problem in the society by saying to the consumer, this is what you need to do. No, they need to do that voluntarily. Yes, we need to do that in a strategic way. I understand, Anna, at the very end, with regard to the KPIs. Everything is measured in KPIs, also data, and you say it's about measuring data. What do you take a look at? Why do you say these are the KPIs that are important for green tech, circular economy, etc.? Well, at the end of the day, we have the reduction successes of the company, and I think this will be the leading and relevant indicator for the companies, that companies have to report where they are at the moment, what's their position. So it depends on many factors. What's the business model? Do I have an own production or not, etc. So the relevant thing is not the baseline, but can I achieve ambitious reduction targets next year, in the next 5 years or 10 years? This, when companies do a good job, this is what companies can show. This is a very important contribution then. I think we want to get away from climate neutral towards what is the measurable reduction in our company that we achieved. So beyond zero as the big target. I say thank you very much. I could continue this discussion. I still have a lot of questions on my cards here, but unfortunately we have to stop here. I hope that you liked it here in the room or at home. At the end, you get the QR code for collecting the token that you can save for your NFT. Thank you very much to Anna and Marianne that you logged in from the Green Tech Festival. Have fun there. And thank you very much to you, Gunter and Niklas. Thank you for being here. And now we clap our hands for the panelists and we continue in 10 minutes.